Hey, welcome back. So this is part two of the terratri game stream. So, so this is a game for. I'm going to just do a quick review. This is a game that I implemented about 15 years ago on Google App Engine and Python. It was invented by Adam Saltzman, who is also known as Adam Atomic. He does a lot of indie game stuff. He runs a company called Finji these days. And basically, this is a two-player strategy game that he invented on, like making out of paper and second player somewhere. Yes. And so you can play two players. I'm going to make my head a little smaller so you can see. And here we have the red or orange team versus the blue team. The red team starts at one side of the board. The blue team starts at the other. And I've already made the first move, which was to move, slightly to the east here. You have two moves on every turn, and I'm just going to show you real quick how the game plays. Well, that did not work. So let's see. We need to put like I had a game started, and then this is not the opponent for that game. Well, you have to. This is a little clunky. So this was made for Google App Engine, which was like before WebSockets existed. And so it used this thing called the the real-time API or whatever it was called for App Engine, and now it's got WebSockets. So like I didn't have like a room for like people to come in. I was just trying to learn WebSockets. I'm trying to learn Google App Engine, and Adam Saltzman posted about this game that he had made, and I was like, oh, okay, that seems small, and I can go make that. And I made that on Google App Engine like 2 days after he posted about it. And then it's been sitting here ever since. I haven't touched it until a couple days ago, a couple nights ago when I did a live stream on part one where we moved it off of App Engine. I used Claude, and it was able to update it to Python 3. I guess the ancient version of Python I was using is no longer supported on App Engine, but it now runs locally. It doesn't need App Engine, so I'm not even worrying about that aspect of it. So, all right. So anyway. What you do is you have these little forts. This is you. You're this little marble character, and there's orange and blue. You each have 5 forts, and you're going to place the 5 forts. And the goal is to place all 5 of them. In order to do that, you first need to have 5 of these squares. So anytime you touch a square, you take over that square. So this guy is going to move here. These are the 2 different players from their different points of view. And if you touch a square that is not occupied, or which is, like if I touch this square right here, it's going to turn orange. And so now I have 5 of these, and one of my, I have 2 moves every turn. And now one of my turns can be, I can always end the turn, or I can place a fortification here. So I'm going to do that, and that should, if the display is right, that should reduce this number of forts by 1. It did. Okay. Oh, but it put it over here, so that's not good. Okay, so it doesn't know what that rule is yet, but we're going to get to that. Anyway, so this was a game, and they prototyped it, and it was cool. And I put it online, and people started playing it. And so Adam realized there was kind of a flaw in the game, and that is that you can have the situation where basically, as one of the players, you can just follow the other player around, and it kind of induces a stalemate. So if I go here. Like you can't really gain much, territory. I guess you can put a stop there, but like once you've already got five blue squares, it's kind of different. But like here, so now it's gonna be very hard for him to get 5 unoccupied blue squares. You try, but this guy just follows him around, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, okay, I guess you do. So I guess because I let it happen earlier on in the game, it's allowed. But if you start the game, I purposely let them, make the point. But basically, if you don't even get to the point where you can make let's just start over, so I can show the actual problem. Obviously, I'm not an expert at playing this game because hardly anyone is. But let's start there. Again, this is kind of a stupid way to do. You have to copy the link and give it to the other player. That's not really great, but whatever. That's yeah. All right, so now I'm gonna, as the red player, I'm gonna prevent blue from ever making just gonna end my turn and sit right next to him. And here I'm gonna go up and maybe take one of his squares. But here I'm just gonna undo that, right? And so now no matter what I do, red can just, or the red or orange player can just undo it. And in fact, the red probably can make only needs one more square to make a fortress, and so we don't allow that. We take his way, and then, well, this guy's gonna take his way. So basically, this game is just a stalemate, right? And so right off the bat, you reach a stalemate, and that's no fun. And so the rule is the new rule. After he came up with he's got a blog post about it here, and you can get it from the GitHub repo. He actually, I think this blog post where he kind of talks through the design of this problem, and he came up with a plan about banking, and that's what these word banks are. This word bank is for. Basically, when you play one of these fortresses, you put it on the board. But if you don't have a fortress in play yet, you can take it and put it on this side as your second move. And what that does is it gives you an extra move the next time. So basically, you can save a move for the next turn, or for the next for the next turn. So you end your turn early by banking the second move, but then you can take an extra turn later on. That's where we're at, and it does not exist in this game. So that's what we want to implement. So since the last stream, I have, which like literally in the 5 minutes before I started this, where's my, put this in a separate window. So that's Adam's website, Adam Atomic, Adam Salt. Okay. So in the time since I streamed, and again, like literally in the first 10-15 minutes before I did this stream, I ported this to, I say I ported it, I told Claude to translate it into TypeScript. And it did a good job, and it worked. So it's a very small amount of code. There's not much to it, and it just kind of ported the Python I had. So there's no objects or anything. I guess I could expand this a little bit, but basically we have a grid, a board to grid, and all the logic is in this one file, terratri.ts. Now it used to be Python. And it just translated my Python here. So the internal state is stored as a string that is just the state of the board right now. And we're gonna have to change that a little bit. Yeah. Let's see. There's not much to it yet. Anyway, so I didn't really spend a lot of time looking at the code, other than just to see that it was kind of basically the same as the Python I had written 15 years ago. And here we are. So we're going to tell Claude about this new rule. And I thought first we would look at the we would take these rules and kind of put them somewhere, because I think they appear in multiple places, which might be a little bit of a let's see. Sorry, this is not the right. The different. Down the line, what I want to do is, I have a platform for making videos, and I wanted to exercise that platform by making this a web component that sticks in there. So that's part of the reason I switched to TypeScript. It's probably the main reason I switched to TypeScript. And also you have the same logic on the front end and the back end, which you can kind of do with Python if you put Python in the browser, and that can be done, but I'm not, it's just easier to have TypeScript. Especially since my platform is all TypeScript. All right, so yeah, so I have a terratri. It's the word territory, but with a Texas, accent or whatever. What do you call it? A implementation now, and now it's in TypeScript. Looks like we have a web component here for the trays. The trays being this area right here, where this area right here, and there's 4 of them, where the towers go, the fortresses go before they're used. We've got this. Okay, so this minimal. Yes, that's quite minimal. We got the history, and the other reason I wanted to switch it to TypeScript is so that I could have the same history on the back end. Like this history, we don't really store it anywhere, and I'd like to store it. So That's kind of the goal, or one of the goals as well, is to have like a storage of this and to turn this into something where you can step through it and work back and forth. So that's another thing on my plate today. Here's the board. And again, also a web component. And there really ought to be, I think, some kind of class encapsulating the concept of a board. But right now it's just data floating around. So that's it. Okay, so I do have a kind of a to-do list here somewhere in some other window. I don't know what I did with it. Maybe I don't have that one. Let me open it then. Localhost 5000. This is kind of the platform I'm working on, where I want to do stuff. This is just an outliner. I'm not going to talk about it here. I talked about it in the last video. This is a scene where I can draw something about the game, but so far it's just that one little thing. Eventually I'll put the web component there. All right, so we converted to TypeScript. That is done. So I'll move that up there. All right, so this is the new rule. Bank moves up to the number of unused forks. Oh, but I wanted to, right, so again, the rules are here, and I wanted to like add them to the rules and make the rules like a document that Claude could look at. I wanted to see what it was doing with the rules. The rules are down here in index, and I bet they're copied in play. Yeah. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is extract this. So I'm going to tell Claude to extract. Let's extract the duplicate logic or duplicate text from about the rules from index.html and play.html and put them in rules.html. And then they should be imported. And then that. So this is using a web framework called Vite on the front end, and I have no idea if Vite supports this kind of logic. So we're going to find out. So we're going to learn a little bit about Vite and this. Okay, the back end I told it to use Express, which is a just a basic common web framework that comes with, you know, like backend framework that comes with or is often used with Node, which is JavaScript server, and then there's also a WS package being used that handles the WebSockets. I just hear my microphone is on. I haven't just been rambling this whole time. Yeah, you know, I could have just done this, but I don't know how to do the include, and so that's what I'm asking Claude to teach me. If I knew how to do the include, I would have just copied and pasted it into the file, which maybe I could have done that and said include. Or while it works, let's learn. I'll just search how to do a Vite include HTML, like a server-side include. I mean, one way, the easy way to do it is just make it a web component, because but like it's kind of overkill for that. I started using Vite mostly because what did it do? Check rules. Vite include HTML, so you can have a plugin that includes it for you. I started using Vite because one of the AI tools added it for me, and I found that it was actually useful. I was going to rip out everything it had done, but I found Vite was actually useful, and I've been using it for a while. Not an expert in it, but it seems to be really nice. It has a nice feature where it like live reloads your code and everything on the front end. And all right, you want to proceed? Yeah. Although with web components, you basically have to refresh the page. Vite should be doing that build, so I'm not entirely. But let's see. Let's just see what it actually did. Yes, this is a vibe coding show at the moment. I have been known for writing, code by hand in a lot of obscure programming languages, but today I just want to get something done, and so it would be this file. I'm using. Okay, so it's just going to inject them with JavaScript. I'm fine with that. It didn't use a plugin, and that's totally fine. Because this game will not work without JavaScript, so totally fine with it. And I don't worry about not worrying about search engine indexing or anything like that. Good. All right, are you done though? All right, so what does it want to do? It wants to build. Yes, you can. And then we should be able to refresh this and just make sure it works. I think it was live reloading here as well. Okay, so now that we have that, we will. I'm going to check that in, but then GA, right? Because it had to modify these two files. Now, what is this? GD less source client vite and D. Reference types vite client. I'm going to ask it to explain this file because it's empty. Adds vite client types, but it's basically empty, right? Is it empty? Like one line. Can you explain the comment? Can you explain that comment, please? The TypeScript / directive. Okay, so this is a triple thing as TypeScript. It tells TypeScript to pull in Vite's type definitions, which include declarations for special import suffixes like raw, worker, etc. Without it, TypeScript would flag import rules HTML as an error because it doesn't know that importing an HTML file with the raw returns a string. Okay, it's a standard file you'll see in most Vite projects. Okay, I guess that means if I go to rules.html, it shows the rules, and if I say raw, okay, I don't like it. Without it, oh, I see. Because like it's putting, if I go to rules.html, it must be putting something around it. Where's rules.html? Is it not there? Am I not? I'm just not seeing it for some reason. Oh, it's in source client. Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's a little complicated, but I guess rather than having a plugin, I don't think we need to say that's copied from his post. Okay. Okay, whatever. So I want to modify this document. I wanted it in one place. That was the main reason I did this. So I don't know if I like this thing, but if that's what Vite wants us to do, then that's what we'll do. Play index.html, and then this. I think that is something we can git ignore, right? Can we git ignore the dist directory? I would believe so. I think that's just output from think it's just doing it, asking the actual question. I think that is something that I didn't mean it that way, but okay, that wasn't an embedded command, but we go. Look it that way. So there we go. Okay, so basically factor out common rules.html. Okay. You know, maybe at some point we will use a actual plugin system if we find ourselves reusing a lot of HTML components. But okay, so we have that, and now let's modify those rules. So rules.html needs an update. There's a new rule where on a given turn, where instead of just passing your second move of a turn, you can bank it, and this involves moving one of your forts from the left-hand side of the board to the right-hand side, and then you can only bank moves if you have a free fort, have an unused fort. And then if you then on a later turn, you can use the banked move as an extra. You can use the banked move. So potentially you can have up to 7 steps or 7 moves on a single turn, but this would require banking all of your ports. The blue player starts with 1 banked or banked move. So that's my English translation of the rules. I'm going to point Claude here at the actual post from 15 years ago that explains in Adam's words what this thing is, and then I will reconcile. Browser window again. Too many browser windows. So this is the actual window. The actual formulation of this rule has 3 parts. Copy. These reconcile what I just said with the following, which is the game designer's statement of the rule. I think second move and remaining action are exactly the same thing. Spending kept as separate, but spending kept as separate bullet, but simple. Okay. All right. So what did it actually say? Can we put some headings? Can we put some subheadings on the rules? Specifically a banking subheading, and maybe others, maybe one or two others. To see how it categorizes those. Is any grid cell claimed or not that has neither player, pawn, nor pawn? Okay, so I think that's very clear. Turn's going. Okay, I like that. So let's commit that, and then we will implement the rule. Add the banking rule, the rules at HTML. This is a little small, isn't it? Okay. Okay, so I suspect that I don't know for sure, but I suspect that maybe we're going to want to see a little bit of refactoring before we implement this rule. But like, what's the most straightforward plan for actually implementing the new banking rules? So while that works, let's think about it and come up with our own answer to that question. Which kind of has to do with what does the server actually do when you like send it a rule. So server main looks like we have some routes on the app for API games, API join a game. We have a WebSocket. Okay, so the WebSocket is probably just sending these messages, which I believe are in shared over here, and they're just game messages, just board, red player, blue player, whose turn, winner. And then I guess we send maybe this is polling, or maybe this is oh, it's not polling because it's a WebSocket. All right, so I want to see where this is used, and specifically the update. So that is sent. Okay, so send update tells the bedroom. I see. So that's weird. So it sends a message to one of the rooms depending on who didn't make the last move, I guess. All right, which I guess makes sense. I think we're going to change that and just make it kind of agnostic and just. Says my stream is current bit rate is a little low, I guess. Sorry about that. If there's anything I can do to speed up this computer, possibly closing PyCharm. Again, I designed this protocol, and my assumption is that it's basically the same as whatever I designed 15 years ago. I don't know that for sure. It is using WebSockets instead of whatever the Google App Engine thing was, but it looks like it's, you know, whatever I made at that time. All right, so we have a grid. We can check what the winner is, who the winner is. I see the second letter of the word, L and E, is the fort. So if you're standing on it, you have a red pawn is R, red territory is dots. So it makes a little picture of the game. And then you have red pawns and forts, and then you have, if they're both on the same square, then you have this. That's how the board is represented. And if you're one of these, then whatever you're on is always going to be red or blue. You can't go onto a board with you can't go onto a cell with the enemy fort. You can go on your own fort. Okay. This is going to have to change quite a bit. See, I feel like there should be like a single object that has all this stuff in it. And is that what game is? What is game? That was in types over here. Game message. Did I not see a thing called game? Basically the state of the thing is not enough to, like, the state of this grid is not enough to tell you what the game is. So this whose turn has to be, there should be a data structure that binds the steps and the grid together. So we gotta see who calls this. There's a game. What is game? Game is games get. There's games. String game. So there's a game structure. Interface game is in the server. Okay. I see. So that right now the server is sort of like it keeps these objects, and then whenever we call out to the game engine or whatever, the abstract game, we're just passing in the board and whose turn and the steps. And I think we should abstract that away. The key is some random ID. The red player and the blue player are like usernames. The board is the current state, whose turn is either a particular side of particular team, a person, or it's empty because there's not two players yet, or the game is over. And so we're gonna need to extend this with a well, yeah. So board is just that grid, right? So it's just a string, in fact, string of 25 characters. So I think there should be an object here that encapsulates most of that, like the state of the board, without the name of the player or anything like that, just the state of the board. And then I wonder why there's a separate winning board. If the board is one, then what's the difference between the winning board? I don't know if this is something the AI introduced or something winning board game that win. It looks like it's always null. Never written. I don't see that that's used anywhere. I say let's. I'm curious if the AI introduced that. So I'm going to go back to look at the. Where's my? I'd be able to tell these browsers apart better. Go back here. I want this one. And I'm going to look at the old master branch from ages past. And I just want to see what it did to change. Hey. That would have been in main.py would be the. Yeah, I had it. Winning board. I guess in App Engine, these were stored in the. I don't know why I did that. Like I guess I wanted to save the final state of the board for some reason, but I don't, I can't justify that. Anyway, so it was my fault. I made that weird field and not Claude, and I'm going to remove it. So let's remove every instance of that. But first, let's make sure we are not. I don't want to. All right, nothing else changed, so I'm going to just. So find usages already down here, right? So we will delete this line. Game board. So where we go to game, we'll delete that winning board. Find usages here. Winning board is null. And we can delete that. And we can delete that. And just double check that that is now here. Oh, still one. Now we have an error somewhere. Oh, I see. These, I mean, I don't understand what these mean, but they're not my doing. So I'll clean those up later. Okay, so we'll get rid of this winning board nonsense. Let's see, how do we run these tests? npm run npm test, I think. Test pass. I don't see any compilation errors. All right, so we were going to go ahead and add source cache and just make sure that I'm just deleting these things. Yep, the comma issue there. Okay. Interesting that it was in the game message as well. That's I don't know. Like ideally, you would be able to reconstruct the entire game from the steps. That's what I want to work towards, because I want to be able to, in this thing down here, like in the note, in the script, I want to be able to put the steps and play out a game and have an animation running on the side here. This is the script. You know, it's an outliner, but it allows you to write a script of a video and record a statement for every line. So revamp state notation, and it's not working. Okay, oh, because I hit stop. Revamp state notation. Right. And then if I hit play, you can't hear it, but it says revamp state. Hit play. Yeah. Don't need that now, but the point is, this is a way to make videos, and I want to make a, you know, I want to animate the telling of a video of this game. Yeah. We'll see. Okay, so working on this. Here we are, but let's say remove old. I guess, yeah, so the changes are, yeah. I also deleted the old art, migrated everything to TypeScript, factor out common rules, add the rules, the banking rule, and then remove the old winning board. Oh, I just changed something. Clicked on my, sorry. There we go. I guess I should put it into studio mode. That clicking accidentally doesn't become catastrophic. Okay. Okay, so Claude has been thinking all this time, and now it's asking me what I want to do. So for the bank action button on the board, do you have a bank image? No, I do not. Or should I create a placeholder? I'll have to create one. We'll have to create one. But if you want to generate one based on the end turn button, that would be great. Otherwise, just use a placeholder. All right, when a player is spending bank moves, actions 3+, should passing with X be free, preserves remaining bank, or should each action slot beyond 2 cost the bank whether the player moves or passes? Yeah, passing does not cost the... Yeah, the question kind of doesn't make any sense. I would say passing ends doesn't really make sense here. It's just ending the turn. What I was really getting at is, like, you know, what I wanted it to think through was the logic of implementing, you know, whose turn it is or whatever. I wonder if it. I'm curious if it can make that button. All right, now it's going to tell us what the plan is, so we can review what it said. Okay, so adding the banking rule to terratri, players can bank theirs. I'll make this a little bigger. Oops. Adding the banking rule to territory, players can bank their second move, placing an unused fort on the bank side of the board. Yes. Bank moves can be spent as extra actions on later turns. Player 1 blue, player 2 blue starts with 1 bank move. This requires handling variable length turns, 2 to 7 actions. Yes, that's what's the main thing I wanted to know. In a system that currently assumes fixed 2-step turns. Yes, that's the main thing I was worried about. Currently, turns are always 2 steps, and whose turn uses, yes, that's what needs to change. Uses steps.length divided by 2. With banking, turns become variable length. We'll add a pipe between turns in the step string. That's fine. So before you have this, and then after you have this, that's fine. In fact, I believe that's what I said down here, except I said to use a dot, which is fine. We can change that later. So new step code, K versus K is bank. Why is it K? That's kind of an odd choice of it in the notation. Why would that be K? Oh, because B is used as the. It's not an action though, but in the notation it's used as the side marker. Okay. Spending is implicit after action 2. A player has bank and didn't pass bank. Turn continues. Each move fortify action at position 3+ costs 1 bank move. Ending the turn at position 3+ is free. Remaining bank is preserved for future turns. Yes. Fort accounting. Supply equals 5 times 5 minus placed on board minus banked. Both fortify and bank require supply greater than 0. No, that's wrong. So both fortify and bank require supply greater than 0. I think that's wrong. Can you clarify? I would think that if you have a banked move, you can always fortify as your banked move. Just take the banked fort and place it on the board. All right, so we'll talk about that in a minute. I just want to respond in line. So files to modify in order. Okay, core game logic. You're going to add bank moves. I see it's adding 1 for each side, I guess. I don't know. That is turn over. Step index, but cars currently turn from last segment after. Update valid steps. Directions plus fortify if valid plus pass bank. 5 greater than 0, enter reversal check. Step index greater than equal to 2. Directions plus fortify plus end turn. I don't understand what that's saying. Explain anti-reversal check. Also explain anti again, I don't understand what it's saying about anti. Shared types. Yeah, it's probably fine. Again, game message probably needs to be like game state or something like that, but is turn, oh, it said update move handler after appending step call is turn over, true append, blah, and compute whose turn. Okay, so this is just how it's gonna try and track that. I think we're gonna clean this up with that, okay? Step image maps. And for, okay, so for number 6, that's already in there. Or wait. Maybe. Yeah, okay, so also just to be clear, we are already showing banked moves, or at least have a slot, or at least have a way to show them. Unbanked ports are placed on the left side of the board, on the user's left side of the board, and banked are placed on the right under the orange and blue bank labels. For your by under, you know, one of which, under meaning toward the user who is banking. So let's see what it says about that and see if it updates. I think there's a couple extra lines in here. They're not on the screen anymore, so let's see. Like I'm not, I had a couple notes. It's using K for the notation. I'm going to probably change that in a minute. I figure let it do its thing and you don't have to micromanage it right now. We can change it later. I was also going to remove the word R because it's supposed to, originally it was red and blue, and they're really orange and blue in the UI. The prototype was red and blue. Sometimes this is what it's like to code with AI. You have a little bit of downtime to go see what's going on, make sure your stream's working on it. Right. So fortify plus bank action, you're right. If a player has bank but no supply, they can still fortify. Yeah, so that's fixed. Fortify requires supply greater than 0. Port on the left side. Oh, that's not right. But no, that's not true. Even on your first, even on moves 1 or 2 of a turn, you can bank. You can a bank fort. It just has a dual purpose, or the dual effect of unbanking the move. But since the player can't actually choose where the fort, you know, which tray the fort is being, drawn from, in practice, we always draw from the unbanked forts, unless there is no, unless all forts are banked, all remaining, if that makes sense. Yes, that's the rule. So we don't encounter the unbanked or whatever. Supply, yeah. Yes, and the there can be a side effect. Yeah, that's right. I lost where it said it. Right here. I believe that is the correct rule. That might be a question for Adam, but Adam is not here, so, and I haven't spoken to him in 15 years, so. All right, so let it run. It saves that plan to a text file, and it's going to clear its context, so it is now like a fresh copy of Claude that will now read the Claude.md file and read the plan and figure out what it needs to do. I'll sit here and eat chocolate. Woohoo! I see now this makes for a rather boring stream. This needs to be edited. Maybe we can continue to investigate what this code does. All right, so we've got the server is based on, as I said, it's now based on this thing called Express, which, yeah, import Express from Express. Why doesn't this like it? Can only be default imported using the ES module interop flag. I wonder if Klein can fix this. Klein has been a little clunky right now. Yeah, it's been not working well. This is a plugin for a lot of IDEs, and this particular IDE is called PyCharm. No, we're not using Python here. And it looks like both of these are broken. So I'm going to go ahead and fix Klein while this is running in the background. Or at least upgrade. I really like Cline, but it tends to work well with Claude, and sometimes they give you access to free new models that are being tested out by the various companies or whatever. This might slow down the stream a little bit. My charm is. I have a lot of memory on this machine. I bought a big chunk of RAM right before the. I guess I was one of the first people to buy. I bought a big chunk of RAM for all this AI stuff, and now many people are buying RAM. So, updating Cline, running. This is reading its plan and all right, so let me look at the other. Okay, we'll restart PyCharm. PyCharm is probably the only IDE or like developer product that I've ever purchased. Really, really good. And I still use it. You know, a lot of times I'm coding like this these days, where I don't have an IDE, but I keep Visual Studio Code just for like general purpose stuff. But like PyCharm is really good for refactoring. And so I do quite a bit of work, cleanup work with PyCharm. I don't know how many more years I will continue to pay the subscription, but it is a very well done product. And they have their own AI stuff. I haven't used it that much because Cline gives you access to the free models, and then I'm already paying for Claude, and Claude works. You can't just plug. You can use the Claude API and pay by the token, but I like the. I already have a subscription, so I don't. It's much cheaper to use the subscription. All right, so hopefully PyCharm will reload here. Go. See someone's watching. Hello, so welcome. It's a bit of a slow moment here because we're waiting on Claude to implement a new rule in this game and figure out how to do it. And in the meantime, I'm just kind of exploring the code. This is basically ported from Python code I wrote many, many years ago. And it's basically direct port. Direct IDE performance, yeah. So I don't. You have to tell it to exclude these folders from the antivirus check. Otherwise, it gets mad when you. I don't exactly know what it does, but PyCharm always wants you to free those up. Okay, so now I guess, and also PyCharm is just so slow to launch. It's great once it's working, but every time you start it, it takes quite a bit of time to get up to speed. And this is a pretty fast computer. Okay, so to do whatever it wanted to do there. Okay. Still can't start Cline. Okay, I'm just going to uninstall Cline. Or deactivate it or whatever. I usually use Visual Studio. It works much better in Visual Studio. They started supporting PyCharm and Friends, but maybe it'll work again in a couple versions. It also doesn't for like at work we had access to Claude, and then we had whatever reason we got switched over to OpenAI, and it won't work with the latest OpenAI AI models. Klein does not work with. This is running really slow. Generally, I prefer Claude for working with these things. It seems to, the way I described it is like, you know, they're both horses, but like OpenAI is not my horse. I don't. It doesn't respond the way I expect it to respond, and Claude does. You know, you have to just behave differently to make it behave differently. I'm not. I haven't gotten the in sync with Codex, OpenAI yet. Like little things, it'll just like it tends to get into arguments with me, you know, for some reason. Like I told it that it was talking, you know, I'm talking to Azure right now and not the actual OpenAI server or whatever, because we purchase OpenAI through Azure, and it was like, no, that's not true. Yes, it is true. I can show you your config file. Doesn't do that. All right, so hopefully when this restarts, okay, so it's still really. I think this is running really slow. Like sometimes during the day, like different hours of the day, it just gets slow. Yeah, because I mean, this is not 8,000 tokens over 9 minutes. Doesn't seem like. Maybe I'm not interpreting that number right, but that seems like it got slowed down on the server, on their server side. Okay, so I mean, what can I do that's productive here? I was looking at. So basically, again, in my ancient Python code, the board was just the string of 25 characters that represents this board, and there's no real storage. Like I set it up with the idea that I would store it in this Google App Engine thing that existed back then. I guess it still exists, but I'm not using it anymore. And I would think the server itself should probably be a little less. It should know a little bit less about the game. You know, it shouldn't know. Okay, so like getting stuff about the player, that makes sense. This I feel is a little like, okay, you're just copying stuff from the board, but you know, I don't know. I feel like the right way to do this, even if we're only implementing this one game, is to treat it as if we were serving many different games. So like you had a server, hey, 10-core Smash. That sounds frustrating. I don't know what there's always a lag here, so I don't know what that sounds frustrating has to do with. Welcome. Glad to see you here. Sorry, there's no J in these videos. But, it is what it is. I don't know what you're saying sounded frustrating, but in general, I'm not frustrated with these things. I find them to be little you know, little helpers that may or may not be as helpful as they claim to be sometimes. But I find them very fun to play with. I don't know if your name is an option like Tank or Smash, or if that if it's Tankor is the first name and Smash is like, I could see that being like a good character name that wants to go around smashing things. ID take, yeah, okay, so PyCharm is a little frustrating. I usually leave it up and running. I don't reboot this computer very often. But what's frustrating is when Microsoft reboots it on its own. That is not a thing I like about Windows, and no matter how many times I tell it not to do that, every once in a while it changes its mind for me. Okay, are we done? Is it refreshed the page over here? So is it doing something? It wants me to do something. Okay. All right, so it is able to see this browser right here through a mechanism called Playwright, which is a test automation system that Microsoft came up with. And it has this thing called an MCP server that allows Claude to control and see this browser. So I'm going to allow it to do whatever it wants with Playwright. Encore, no transformer character. Okay. Do you want to proceed? Close browser. No, please do not close the browser. Please don't close the browser as we use it to collaborate. Or as you use it to collaborate with the human user. I don't know what it thinks of me as a human or whatever. And we want to run tests, so yes, I'm going to let it always do that. So if I go back to home, oh, look at that! It made it. It's not exact, but that's pretty close to the like the actual end turn one. I think is very close to that, but it has like a little bit more of a rocky texture, I think. Let's see, I guess we can load it up in. Public images and oh no, it doesn't. That's actually pretty close. But it's very pixely, and this one is not. I don't see that it actually created a. Oh, it did bank. All right, so not quite. It made an attempt. But we'll stick this in Asprite and clean it up a little bit, and we can probably do something to get it close. I don't know if that's a font he uses or this was made by a guy named Adam Saltzman. So this guy, he drew all the cool pixel art. Okay, you want to play? Encore Smash, do you want to play? I don't know if I can. I guess I can paste this into chat and see if you want to play. I'm gonna trust that you're here, and then I'm gonna. How do I have a chat box? I must have a chat box. All right, here I can paste this in. So you go here. Oh, this is localhost. So I can't do this. Sorry. It's like that meme where I made this cool app. It's on localhost 5000 or whatever. Sorry, I can't do that. It will be up on the web at some point, but yeah, sorry, that was dumb. All right, so I'll have to do it this way. Psych. All right, so here we go. All right, so we started with one banked move. That's good. So these are blue has one banked move. That's correct. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and bank this move, and now I have a bank move. Okay. Now it's blue's turn. That's correct. This is super ugly. But I've done that. Now can I use, if I make another move, does it take that banked thing? And it does. Okay. And I put it back over here, which is correct. Now on my turn, so you can't actually use these forts until you have 5 empty spaces. So on the next turn, this one has 4, and so as he moves 2 more, he should be able to make a fort, but he doesn't have enough any more moves. He's got, as soon as I move off this, he'll have 5 empty ones, so he should be able to make a fort right away. And I'm going to instead bank the thing. All right, so he makes his move. And so I'll test here. This should remove from here, from the non-banked ones. And it did. So he's got 4 now and 1 here. And now this guy, if I press this, it should remove from this side. We don't want to, because this indicates the bank move, and it's doing double duty. So we only want to take from this side if there's nothing over here. Good. All right, and now I'm going to bank everything. Oh, I'm just going to end the turn. I'm going to bank a bunch of moves. Everybody's going to bank. We'll move all the. All right, so all banked over here. All banked over here. All right, so now when I bank, it should come from this side. And it did. And I'm going to end, if I do all of them, I see, so I moved, that removed one item from the bank, and so now if it should take this one. It did not. Okay, so I think if I give this to that, it can replicate the thing. Interesting. Interesting, but it seems it's. Wait, hang on. Hang on. Was that bad? Was that wrong? Because it had there were some number of banked moves over here. And I guess there must have been 3 because there's 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so there were 3 banked moves. And as a move, I placed the. I think it counted it twice, right? Because like there were 3, and like if there's moves over here, you have a bank move, so you okay. So what it actually did wrong. Right, but okay, so but given this, I can tell it to look at this board. Okay, it looks almost right. But look at the current page in Playwright, especially the history. I think there were 3 banked forts / moves, and I fortified, and now there's a fort on the board and a fort that got unbanked. And I think that there should only that there should still be 2 banked forts and nothing on the unbanked side. What do you think? Argue with me. Tell me I'm wrong. I think that's a bug. You're on the game tab, but okay. Maybe it doesn't see the same tab I see. Well, yeah. So he says I looked through the video on demand and I wasn't sure what to look for. I think it was still one along both sides of the screen. If I did what I intended to do, I banked all the moves over here, and then so they should have all been on this side. That was my intent. I don't always pay attention to what I'm doing, but or as close attention as I expect to. But I believe that's what I did. And so this is not very useful. This what I want eventually is to have a replayer for this, so we can go back in here and see it. But that doesn't work that way yet. That's another reason I wanted to move this to TypeScript, so that the same logic could run on the back end and the front end, and you could replay the things. I do like this using Playwright here because it's able to, you know, it can inspect the DOM, it can run JavaScript, it can apparently switch tabs and draw stuff on the canvas, which is cool. Didn't know it could do that. I'm gonna stage what it's done so far. I will even stage this terrible picture, the icon or whatever. And let's just kind of browse through what it changed. So it has a count for the banked moves. So the question is, do I find this is still generally faster than doing it yourself? I don't think I've got the fortitude to wait as long as I might need to. Often what I do is I am doing like 2 or 3 of these things at once. So normally, if I weren't on screen, I would be juggling 2 different projects, and that usually is enough, because I take a lot of time to, write the prompts, and to figure out what needs, spend some time thinking about what needs to be done, and so usually by the time I'm done writing one thing, the other thing is finished, and so when I do that, yes, it is faster. I don't know, like a lot of times, like when I'm telling it to just do minor cleanups, then it's definitely not faster. But again, it's delegating, right? Like I'm having a conversation with this thing and having another conversation with something. And maybe so I don't know, maybe I'm giving a bad impression of what I do, because this is, I mean, I agree, this is boring to watch. Yeah, so I made, I'll show you the thing I made. Early on, when these what do you call them? The agentic coding systems were running. They I made a thing called tangent swarm. GitHub.com tangent storm /tangent swarm. Haha, right. And basically, I don't have a screenshot of it, but basically what it does is it for a web app like this, it'll check out different copies. So it uses tmux, which is like a tool I use on the when you're shelled into a server. You can use tmux to like multiplex your screen, so you have a reusable screen session with like windows within your terminal, that allow you to do different things. What I do is I create a session for a tmux session for each one of the workers, and so basically it checks out a branch, or creates a new branch for each feature I want to work on. And then you can have like 10 features going without having 10 windows open. You just use one shell window, and then you can switch between them. Really should put a screenshot on here. I probably have one on X. But maybe I'll do that right now while I'm doing busy work. Takes that time. I'll show you a screenshot of what it. But anyway, the point is, like, the intent was to be able to juggle, like, 5, 10, 15 agents, and you can with that software. But in practice, like, once I'm doing two, it's like I become the bottleneck. I can't keep up with the AI because it works so fast. Now, maybe today, since it's, Claude seems to be particularly slow. Actually, I want to do on media, right? Then maybe maybe I could do 3 of them. But let's see. This was I wrote a long series of posts about trying to get a particular bird to show up. This is a shot of the kind of the same thing I want to do for terratri. I've got a way to, like, annotate a chess puzzle. I've made videos like this, but, like, in the system, I can embed the actual chess board right next to the outline. And so as I move the cursor up and down here, I can see the annotations, which are made with these little weird, I mean, you can't read it, but with these little lines, this little notation. I was thinking of doing something similar for terratri. So this right here, this board would be embedded on the right hand side over here, and then you could play, or you could make a video about playing the game and, like, script all the different moves and everything, which again depends on a replayer. But where is my pixel art? My virtual machine. This might be it. I mean, this is form running, but I guess maybe it's kind of hard to have a good screenshot of these things. What would make a good screenshot? Active branches without tmux sessions, active tmux sessions, and you can switch between them. Yeah, this is a good screenshot. So the idea is that you can have, like, many directories. I think Claude even has a concept called, or Git has a concept called a work tree, and Claude is able to use that. But here I just checked out separate copies of whatever repository you want, and they're all in the same thing. And then I added a little. It's just a bunch of tmux scripts that make this work. And then I guess it's all form command. If I copy that image, I'm gonna edit and put that image in. Add a screenshot. Detail was necessary, but yeah. Okay, so that's tangent swarm. Anyway, the point is that I don't actually use that very much. I might use it if I've got, like, things that like threads that might take a long time to build, like, big features that I'm working on. Thought that was cute. I don't know if this is a true quote, but there we go. Okay, so all 24 steps pass. Did it added? Let me see what it did. I see the issue. You're playing as red. The left tray shows 4 blank forts and a 1 blah blah blah. Spending a bank move returns the fort to supply instead of consuming it. The formula. Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's try that again. Let's just make a new game and see what happens. Again, we have to copy this over here. I see yours. Oh yeah, the quote. I don't know if Schopenhauer really said that, but I think this one. 2 types of people in the world. That was weird. Okay, so we're gonna bank every move that we can. Love this beautiful icon. Bank. Bank. We're just gonna, everybody's gonna bank. Bank, bank, bank. You can bank. Sure, there's actually a song about making bankers. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna, as blue, I'm gonna fortify, and that would, I would expect one of these to go, and you should have 4 left. Done. And now I'm gonna make another move, and I would expect this to jump over here. It did, did, did. And now if I fortify this, I would expect it to come out of here and not from over here. Done. Nope, that was correct. That was correct because I also consumed a banked move. Okay, so if I and now there's no more turn, so it's this guy's turn. All right, so for this guy, right? So I wanted to set it up so that I've got like this. I'm going to end the turn, and then on the next turn, so I'm going to end my turn over here. Now when I do it, it should consume this one because I'm not using a banked move. Because I'm not using a banked move, it should take it from over here. And it did not, right? It moved from over here. There were 2 over here. Okay, but it must have taken from somewhere. If it didn't take from somewhere, he said it took from nowhere. Like there has to be 5 on the screen at all times. There should always be 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's 6 on the screen at one time. That's wrong. Okay, so something's still wrong. Right now, if you look at playwright, blue has 6 forts on the screen. Also, I just fortified. Also, red just fortified as the start of the first move. Fortified as the first move of a turn, and it appeared to draw the fort from the bank side, but it was not a bank move. But since it was the first move of a turn, it was not a bank move. Maybe we can look and see what it's actually, like what the diff was, and that will tell us what it's building here. Where is my other pie chart? So if I hit Control K, shows me the code that has changed. History is a string of steps separated by turn. So most of the change is down here. Some ugly code. I also feel like it was a mistake to use these directional notes, because like reading this, it's very hard to say like, you know, where was the guy? You have to trace the entire path back. And I think what it should do is use like Cartesian coordinates. So it'd be like, you know, you start on C1 and your first move is like C2, or you know, it's either B1, C2, or D1, and it uses like a chess notation. I think that should be the case. And then also, I think we should be able to play this. I think I will make that move first, that the change in the notation first. I'm not sure that this is really the notation. It says it, you know, that's described in the docs either, because it like says, it's like using capital letters to describe what the blue player does. I guess that's okay. Maybe that's fine. Is that what I did back in the Python days? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so that was my design. Hmm. I don't know. Maybe if the replayer worked, then I would be happy with this. But I kind of feel like it should use. I feel like it's confusing to say west, east, east, west all the time. Whereas, because then, like, if you're hearing a sequence of moves, you have to remember. You know, you don't. If you didn't hear all of them, if you heard somebody said east, 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 and you only heard east, east, then you know, maybe you make a mistake, and it's not clear that you made a mistake. Whereas if you hear, you know, C4, then you know the thing is on C4, right? And then that's the, like, if you miss a move in the middle, then you know, you can there's like a checksum, like it is a running checksum, in that the oh, somebody's texting me. Oh, I'm not at work. Oh, okay. Somebody's texting me at work about non-work stuff, but I will talk to them later. Because I'm not at work. A neat feature might be to hover over the log and have the board come to that state. Yes, I agree 100%. Being able to somehow browse this history. I don't know if I want to like completely replace the board, but being able to show the either a replayer, or you know, because you don't want to confuse yourself about what you're seeing, but like maybe showing like a somehow some little mini version of the board or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So I guess what I want to do is I want to be able to continue testing it, and then like show it problematic moves, and rather than just saying look at the state, like I want to be able to copy and paste the history. So maybe we should just like waiting for other player to move. Like maybe we should just do that. You know, and also I'm going to ask it to make that. Let's turn do it on this side. It can't see this one. This is my browser. It has my little icon on it. This browser does not have that icon, so it cannot see that. So I'm going to ask it to look at this. First of all, let's check in what it's got. Work on new banking rule. New banking rule semi-tested. How about that? And then I will tell it to look at the thing and try and can you make the bank icon a little bank icon a little smaller? Oops. Okay. A little smaller so it doesn't look weird next to the end turn button. Also, can you give it the little pixel highlight on the left and top? Now that's probably going to take a while. So in the spirit of trying multiple clods or whatever, gotta go all the way to this weird directory. I don't normally deeply embed things that way. We can just start another clod. And then we can juggle this clod with when you're working in the same folder, you gotta hope they don't run over each other. But this is just no, not what I asked for, is it? I asked for okay. Okay, but no, that's why can't I type? Hello? Did it get mad because I started 2 clods? No way. I've done that many times. That's weird. I'm gonna try that one more time just to see if it gets mad about having. I've had clods running at the same time. I guess I don't normally run them in the same directory. Yeah, that's not a problem. It just happened to freeze up for something. Oh, well, hang on, maybe. Yeah, I run clods. I usually don't do it in the same project. So let's just stop this. Because that seems to not, it does not seem to like that. Well, maybe it does. Maybe it's okay. Are you okay? They do not look the same to me. They don't look the same size to me. Look at screenshot in Playwright. of the current page in Playwright. Actually, let's refresh it, make sure it's actually up to date. I think it is. I just refreshed, so. Okay. All right, so then we will talk about making the player. Now that we have the same logic, or now that we've ported game logic to TypeScript, I think we can have it running on both the front and back end. Maybe we could extract an actual game object that included both the board and the steps and the banking information, because and then we could have two of those running on the front end, and includes all the class, all the logic for updating the state, and then we could have, based on the step codes, and then we could have two of them running on the front end, one for the actual game and one for a replay. What do you think? So this would be a major refactoring that causes a bunch of files to be moved around. So I would expect this to conflict with anything else that I'm doing. So I'm just going to leave it in plan mode and let it think through how to do this. In general, I'm okay with it evaluating JavaScript. It could do something nasty, but this guy is not logged in. It's a blank Google profile, so I'm generally okay with it. Still not great. It's interesting that it's using this to draw. I had never expected it to do this. This is a interesting thing to me. It's writing code to draw this thing, and then I guess taking a screenshot of that, or saving it as a document. All right, now it looks the same. Well, okay, they're not exactly positioned side by side, and also the end turn has a button, has a nice beveling effect where there's a white bar on the top and left, and then a shadow on the bottom and right. Maybe you could start with that button, erase the text, and add the word bank. Add the word bank. I didn't quote it right, but it knows what I mean. I trust it to know it. I don't think it's doing that. Did you know you can drag and drop image files into your terminal? I've not had much luck with that. Okay, so now it wants to meanwhile, this guy over here, so let's make this tab something a different color. Let's call this the purple tab. The fuchsia tab. You want to proceed? Yes, you can read from this directory. Reading from. Come on. I don't know why it thinks it can't read from those files. Okay. So we have to wait for the other player. Does not look right to me. It found a result, but it didn't save it. I don't. Now it's compacting, so it ran out of context. You can get this little graph, get it to make a little graph of context. I guess it's working right now. Usually I clear the context like right after almost every step. I guess I let it run a little bit longer this time. Good exploration results. Now let me design the implementation. I would expect these not to conflict with each other now because it's just, this one is just making this button file. Really what I could do, I can just open the button myself. That I don't mind doing. Ace break. I don't mind doing any of it, but I wonder if I would actually be faster here. Hey, I don't want that. I want you to actually open Ace break, man. It's installed. Why aren't you? I will erase this now. Let's see if I can make the pixel thing faster than this thing. Now that it's got a little bit of a head start, but it's done its compacting. File open. Can I open PNG files in here? Yeah. Where am I? This for some reason is under MJW docs, under talks, under terratri. Under this is one thing that like just telling the thing to do it saves me from doing this, typing in like, you know, navigating through the file system and trying to find where I put this thing. Now I do normally put everything directly under dver, so this would normally be dver terratri. But because I slipped from that here, like even then, just finding the file, it takes time, and just telling it to go do it, like I don't have to do this. One thing I like about PyCharm is that you don't have to do this. You can just type the thing you want to look at, and it'll find it very quickly, which is why it takes so long to set up. Hey, Fushima, I should open it. It's not completely screenshot from a game I was trying to turn into pixel art, so I basically traced it. Anyway, completely broke the whole point of what I was doing. So you again have to do this, and that was it MJW docs, terratri code. Now under here, it's now under public images and end turn. Well, okay, so it has for some reason it's still just sitting there doing nothing for 5 minutes. So maybe I will have a chance to win. Oh, and that's interesting. I would have expected this to not be. I see. So it's a bunch of transparent pixels. So this was done in like Photoshop. This was not an Ace Spray sort of thing. I didn't make this. It was all Adam Saltzman. creator of the game. Draw here. Huh? Start to open a window in the current directory. Yeah. I have everything installed, yeah. Yeah, so I finally broke down and installed this thing. Everyone